Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Another week of Tech Talk. Good to see your faces as always. Mike, what have we got on our hands today?
We've got a couple of topics today. Firstly, 60 grit on edges. Are you spending unnecessary time down on your knees there, pushing the 60s along the wall there with hand grinders? So that's certainly a good one to discuss. And also, always a hot topic is how you go about choosing particular bonds for your first cut for under your bigger machinery for the middle of the floor. So look, these are a couple of great topics. So I'll be looking forward to hearing what your guys' thoughts are on these.
How did this whole 60 thing come about? I mean, it is in our range, but why are we talking about this one?
Yeah, so Milan, we just wrapped up doing a seminar with Eno Supply in New York this week, and it was kind of an interesting one because I was observing the Americans, observing some of the attendees going around and doing the handwork, and noticed that the hand grinder actually had a 60 grit on there. And it was nearly finished. It was about a metre from being finished. And I said to the guy, "Can I see what you're running?" And there was a 60 grit on there, and I was like, "That's interesting. I haven't seen someone running a 60 grit along the edges for a long time." And then I asked the rest of the attendees if they run 60s along the edges, and they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, whoops." So it was actually, it received a little contention to begin with, but I think the most, I guess, I mean, we put it to the test. We had a 30 grit down along the edge, and then we went straight into a grouting wheel along the edge, and everyone pretty much was in agreement that, hey, actually, that's a really good trick, because not only is it saving me time having to do one less step, but the texture from that 30 grit is actually really conducive to generating a good amount of dust to grout as well. And it also, that rough texture helps my grouting wheel to grout faster. So we just saved them their knees. So 30% less need for a rack attack.
Wow. So you saved them pretty much a whole day on every single project. That's awesome.
I was just going to say, I mean, this tool does exist. It is in our product range. When would you consider using a 60 grit, I suppose, is the question I wanted to ask.
Maybe on hard concrete is probably when I would suggest it. But then I think there's probably a time on hard concrete I'd still even use something else. Tim, can you think of what that is?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that, Josh. You were breaking up a little bit there. I would use it in external applications. So a lot of exterior work's being only done to sort of a 50, 60 grit metal, and you need to get a matching edge. And there's no point going to a finer grit cup wheel. And we'll probably talk about that in a moment. But you're not using a grouting material to help with your abrasion anyway. So you actually need the 60 grit. Diamond profile to be able to get the job done in that case too.
Yeah, just on the hard concrete in the
that's
previous.
What it's in there for.
Yeah, just on hard concrete in previous applications when I used to do it, we'll go back and we always talk about reading the floor and reading the profile. Same with the edges too, particularly, let's say, the turbo cup wheel. These are very, very fine profile. So there's been instances on hard slabs where, you can go your 30 grit turbo and then jump into a 60 grit turbo and grout with that, and you're done. The scratch pattern's so fine that your resins will actually remove it. So being able to understand and read, you can reduce a step, whether you eliminate the 60 or eliminate the 100. It can be done, but also you could be putting cut stick along the edges if you want to be slightly more aggressive and abrasive if you're struggling to generate that dust.
Yeah, and the thing with the cut stick is because cut stick has grout in it, if you did want to jump from a 30 to a grout wheel on really hard concrete, you could brush down the cut stick along that edge, and it's got grout in it, so you're done.
Okay, so now our 11 secret herbs and spices is down to 10.
The other one is a bucket that comes in.
Is that me?
Can you just say that again, Milan? Because it sounded like you said something else for a second there.
Oh, I said the other secret is it comes in the bucket. That's the other ingredient.
That is not my idea of a family feed.
All right, guys. Does anyone else want to say anything more to this particular topic, or are we going to move into the bond selection?
I'm presuming, Josh, the question may have been posed of you. Why are we never promoting that on the main floor body, going from a 30 grit diamond straight to a grouting tool like we're demonstrating the edges sometimes? Did that question come up at all?
Yeah, it did, actually. It did come up. And the main reason why we're not doing it is because when we are grinding with big machines, we're generating so much more heat, and it's to do that jump from a 30-40 to a GRT is just too big, because we're talking about much bigger weight and much bigger operating temperatures to begin with. The leap is too big. But I did remind them that a decade and a half ago, maybe longer, that process up to grout was actually 4, which is now 3. So there actually have been some advancements there. If you've been around the industry for long enough, you'd know.
I guess also, if you wanted to jump using the floor machine, your first cut would have to be so flat and spot on without any ridges or any bumps to have effective grout. So it's going to make it very, very difficult. So, I mean, in theory, you could do it.
The other one.
You could do it, but it's very difficult.
You're asking a lot of the tooling and again,
just a bit slow.
Yeah.
Asking a lot of the tooling and I guess, I know when I first started, that was a big thing I heard from you guys and from customers, just the importance of getting that flat floor.
Nah. I want to try it. I want to go from a 30-40 straight to a GRT, but I want to be using Cutsick as the grout. I want to see if we can do that.
Let's do it.
Next grind challenge, maybe even before. That's what I want to do. I want to see if we can do the 2-step system. And then after that, I'm going to set up a set of discs that have got 50, 100, 200, 400, 800, and then a Tempo XD 1500 all underneath, and see if we can do it in 3 steps, which is probably a segue into metal bond combos.
I like what you did there. Come on, Milan, your famous combo, mate. What took you to your particular bond choice and your combo selection?
The bond selection of the combo is going to come up every week now. It's been a bit of a hit, and it comes up in conversation. But no, it's a very good question. Why are we selecting different bonds even though we're using the same grit? What's the purpose of that, based on even the different tool styles? So I might leave it to more the scientist kind of answer, and I reckon Tim's got a really good answer for this one.
For this conversation,
yes.
I got out of the trade before the combos came, so I'm not really I'm not really. How about we let Josh lead it and I'll chip in.
I like the
Thanks
combo
so
answer.
much. Great. Oh, what a combo!
Yeah.
We'll do this one together.
Let's go.
So basically, the whole idea around combos is to utilize the characteristics of one of the tools to help complement the characteristics of the other. So, for instance, if we were going to combine if we had a full set of mediums, because we knew that the concrete had a hard burnt surface, but once we got into the surface, below the surface, we had fairly coarse materials. If we cut through the cap with a full set of softs, once we got through the cap, we'd be sitting in coarse materials and really burning away at those softs pretty quickly. So we might go, rationale means I'm going to go to a set of mediums, and that's going to help preserve my tools. The problem is you're going to have difficulty grinding in past that cap to get to those coarse materials. So we might be sacrificing a lot of speed in order to run those tools. So in this particular scenario, we'll go, all right, well, I want the best of both worlds here. So how do I decide which one I'm going to make soft and which one I'm going to make medium? So say, for instance, we might be going, this is going to be more pertinent if you're going to, say, mix a grit and a bond or a style. So you might be going, a style might be a mix of traditional rocks and a zigzag, or a single segment and a double segment. So basically, the easiest way to work it out is if we're putting one in there to help preserve wear, for me, that's like, okay, I'm going to make that the medium because we're not trying to get that one to influence the cut. So if we were trying to decide with zigzags versus a traditional rock segment and we're trying to make a combo out of those, I'd go, well, which one are we using to create the scratch profile to encourage the cut of the one that doesn't cut as well? Does that make sense? So knowing that, Tim, what would you select if you wanted to cut through a hard cap and then preserve your wear, but you're running a combo of diamond...
rocks and zigzag.
That's your pick, Mike.
Sorry, Mike, what did you say?
I said when you're running a combination of rocks and zigzag, yeah. What particular bond do you reckon, Tim?
Look, Josh, the sorts of things you mentioned are really important because we know with combos we're going to end up with something in between, right? Whether we're just mixing single softs and mediums, we know we're going to get from a hardness point of view something in between. When we start throwing in zigzags into the mix, like you're saying, what was the tool actually? What is its strength in this scenario? So you mentioned the medium is there compared to the soft to preserve wear, right?
Yeah.
So we asked the question, what's a zigzag been designed for? It's been designed for surface pressure or to increase the pressure on the actual tool. It's designed to handle temperature better as well. So it's and obviously the mix that we're getting in this particular, when we start straying outside of just standard shape segments, is we're not just getting, we're getting halfway in between a bond, but we're now starting to, we're getting halfway in between properties of actual geometry of tools as well. So people need to keep that in mind. If we're looking for something that we can load up with pressure that's going to handle the heat better, then obviously the zigzag is the one that's going to bring those sorts of properties into the mix, if I could say that. And like you're saying, where the medium is there more for regulating wear, the zigzag's there to create some sort of impact, some sort of action, right? Otherwise, you'd be just remaining with a normal type conventional shape segment. So if we're looking to really create some action, the zigzag is the one that I'm going for to really create some change, and leaving it to the regular rocks to regulate or to keep things, in the zone from a wear point of view that I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just seems a little bit strange to me if we're going to go, okay, we're going to go a medium zigzag and we're going to stick with a soft regular segment, because everything we're trying to do with that zigzag, which is loaded up with pressure and create temperature, is not going to work so well with the medium compared to the soft bond, which is designed for that specific purpose. So think about what the geometry is actually there to create, but also what the bond is there for, is best suited for. If it's temperature, if it's pressure, we're looking at zigzags and soft bonds.
Well, I can tell you one of my favourite combos.
Very clever stuff.
One of my favourite combos, hops and barley. And when you combine those, it creates a delicious beverage, which this time of week we're usually all pretty keen to go and get a hold of. So good topic, guys. I feel like, especially the combos, it's always a good topic about, we could go on with as many different various combos for different situations, but what do you think? Maybe we wrap it up?
Very good. Very, very good conversation, this one.
Always comments below and feedback.
Nice.
Scotch nice. All right, gents. Thank you very much for your time, and another good couple of topics.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Guys, thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Have a great weekend.
A meeting warning. That's the life.
That's all the credit we have left.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's put more money into this thing.